This is the PowerTeacher Pro Set Traditional Grade Calculation Single Mark Entry Focus video. This video is the third in a three-step process. The first step process was to create categories in PowerTeacher Pro. The second step of the process was to create assignments to record student marks in PowerTeacher Pro. And now this is the third and final step, which is the Set Traditional Grade Calculation in PowerTeacher Pro. You might know this topic better as Set Category Weightings. Before we get started, I'm just going to review what we've done in the first two steps. We've gone into PowerTeacher Pro. Once we're in PowerTeacher Pro, we've clicked on the grading icon, the A+ grading icon, and we've chosen categories. Once we got into the categories section, we set up one category for each progress report mark that we want to be able to publish through the year. Then we went back to the A+ grading icon and we chose the assignment list, and we created one assignment for each category where we can actually record our students' progress report mark. Now, if you're not seeing your full list like this is showing, you probably need to come over here to the term selector and set it to Y1. It sometimes defaults to just showing you a single term. Now that we've got that setup completed, we can set the category weightings. So I'm going to come to my settings icon in my nav pane, and I'm going to choose Traditional Grade Calculations. Now this is where we set what categories we are using to actually publish report card marks. So now that we're here in the Traditional Grade Calculations section, this is where we set up how each term reports the progress report mark. I'm currently in my English Language Arts 6 course section, so I'm going to set up the weightings for that class. So I'm going to go into my T1 settings and I'm going to set it up. I click here on the Actions button and that opens up the T1 settings. What we need to do here is we need to set it so that we're using our categories. So I'm going to click on that type drop down and set it to category weighting. And then I'm going to come to the attribute drop down. I'm going to click on it and make sure that it's showing the correct term. This is my term 1. So I want my November progress report category showing here. Because we're using single mark entry, we only need this one category in here, weighted at 100%. And then I click on Save. My T1 shows that the formula type is set as category weighting, which is what we want. I'm going to do the same process for my T2 and then my T3. I'm going to click on that Actions button. I'm going to set the type to category weighting. I'm going to set the attribute. Now this is my T2, so I'm setting it for my March progress report category. And I'm leaving it at 1 and 100 and then clicking on Save. I'll do this one more time for my T3 settings, and this time we want to make sure that the attribute is set for the June progress report category, and then I save my changes. The final reporting period that we need to set up is the Y1 mark. Now the Y1 mark is the final year mark. It is the overall grade that is reported on the student's progress report. So I come in and I click on the Edit button there in the Actions column. Now, if we continue to set it up the way we've been working so far, we'll stick with category weighting and we'll set it as the final year mark category. Setting up your Y1 mark this way allows you to review all of the work that the student has done through the year, use your professional judgment, and decide what that final mark will be. So I'm going to click there on Final Year Mark. I'll leave the weightings at 1 and 100% and save. So I've got my weighting set up for my ELA 6 class. But if I take a look at my other classes here by clicking on the headings and expanding them, I can see that they're not set up with category weightings yet. They're still set the default way. And I'd like to be able to take those settings that I set for ELA 6 and copy them over. And PowerTeacher Pro allows me to do that. I'm going to come up and click on this gear icon and then choose Copy Traditional Grade Calculations. And that opens up this dialog box. Now I want to copy from one class to another class, so I make sure that stays selected. I want to copy from my year classes. So I'm going to choose the year from the drop-down. And now I'm going to choose the class that currently has the settings I like, which is my ELA 6 class. Then I set where I want to copy things to. So again, a full year class. And then from this drop-down, I can choose the classes that I want to copy those weighting settings to. I can select the entire list, or I can just go and select the classes where I want to copy things to. Click on Validate. I'm going to get a validate message, and I'm going to click on Copy. Now I can see as I scroll through, I can see that all of my classes are set up to evaluate using category weighting. And if I go in and I check, I'm going to check here in health, I see my term 3 for health is pulling from the June progress report category. And if I checked for T2 in math, I see it's pulling from that March progress report category. So that allows me to set one section and then copy to my other section. The last thing we need to look at in this tutorial is to see how our grade set up here affects how we see the progress report mark on the student's progress report mark. I'm going to stay with my ELA 6 mark, and I'm going to go to the A+ grading and choose score sheet. Now, this score sheet view shows me my term 1 marks. I see the category that I set up for my November progress report, and inside that category, I entered marks for that report card 1 mark assignment that I set up earlier. And that is what comes over here and shows the grade in the grade column. Now, it's super important to know that what you see in this grade column is what is going to go on to the student's progress report. So if you don't see a mark, then the student isn't going to receive a mark. If the mark isn't what you think it should be, then you should correct it before it goes over to that progress report card mark. Now I'm seeing here that I have a student with blanks showing in their progress report mark. And if we think back when I entered the assignment, this student had just joined our class and I gave them a mark of IEA, insufficient evidence available, because I didn't have the chance to really truly evaluate the student before these marks were due. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this grade area is selected in that grade column. I'm going to come over here to the score selector. I'm going to click on codes and I'm going to choose IEA. Your IEA may display down here by your letters in that number pad area. It should be in one of those two places though, but that gives me a mark of IEA to display on the student's progress report. After I've reviewed all the marks and everything is set and complete, I can come down here and click on Save. This session finished up the third step in a 3-step process for entering marks. We started off creating categories, then we created assignments and associated with the categories and put marks in for students, and then finally we set the traditional grade calculation settings in this video. If you're looking for more resources on how to evaluate well using PowerTeacher Pro, check out the Assessment Hub and click on the PowerTeacher Pro tab. The easiest way to find it is to go to Connect and search for Assessment Hub, and it'll be one of the top links to your search.